Welcome back. It's Reliving the Lights. I'm your host, Josh Kuipers.
I'm your other host, Anthony Hookman.
We're here for episode 214. Excited to talk a little more Friday Night Lights this week. Anthony, when we record this, it is the early February. It is cold as I was gonna curse, but we won't start off that quick cursing. But it is dreadfully cold.
Which, to be fair, it has been a very mild winter for South Dakota and northwestern Iowa. I think we had our first low below zero today.
Yeah.
And we're looking at the first highs below zero in the upcoming week. So it has been, to be this far into the winter, okay. We're doing okay.
Yeah. I mean, we
to look on the bright side of things.
There have been winters in recent memory, where we've hit -20, -30, unbelievably low. But anyway, I'm still going to complain. It's very cold. Yeah. So for our non-Midwest listeners, I thought maybe you could share some survival tips for making it through cold ass winters here in South Dakota.
I don't know if I have any tips outside of just mentally being like, hey, you know what? Mine is just being like, you know what? In 4 months, it's going to be gorgeous out is like always my mindset.
Yeah.
Right now it's February, so 4 months from now it's going to be June. It's for sure going to be awesome outside.
Yeah. Hopefully even much earlier than that.
Right.
You can April's a complete wild card. You can be
even early
gorgeous.
May can be a bit of a wild card.
My birthday is April 23rd, and there have been birthdays where it's 70 degrees and amazing, just absolutely perfect. And then there have been birthdays where we're in the middle of a blizzard and school gets called off because it's so bad outside. So
I think 3 years ago we had a winter. I remember I posted a picture on Instagram. It was April 18th, 2018, if memory serves.
Okay.
And I remember that day we woke up and looked outside and it was just nope, it was a Saturday. And so we went down to the bar that was half a block from our place and just sat and watched cars get stuck on Main Street in Brookings. Cause that's just the kind of day it was where cars get stuck on Main Street. And then 3 days later, 70% of it was gone.
Yeah. Right.
And that's the beauty of an April or May snowstorm is oh, this sucks for the time being, but it's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Yeah. It doesn't stick around. So you're saying that your survival tip is just
positivity, baby.
Okay. I was going to say put your head down and just get through it. But you're even a little more think about the good times that are coming.
Exactly.
Think about the nice weather that will be.
Well, the thing is, and it's easy for me, especially now because I work from home. So I very rarely have to leave my apartment.
The outdoors doesn't really affect you that much.
I had my first real reality check yesterday living in Sioux Falls because our apartment in Brookings had underground parking.
Oh yeah.
So I I had to face it, but not really. Yeah. Well, and even when I did, my car was already at 60 degrees.
Right.
So by the time that it would have gotten cold in my car, the heater was already going. So I very, very rarely had to face really, truly cold temperatures. And I came down yesterday. I had to run to Target to buy a few things and stepped down. I was like, oh, I have to brush my car off. This is bullshit. But the nice thing about working from home too is that I'll never have to leave my house before 5 p.m. And by that time, even when it gets cold outside, unless it snows, I don't have to scrape my window off because just the sunlight will melt the frost. So
yeah. No, I guess I'm pretty much my survival tip is pretty much the same, except maybe a little less positive. Mine is more just just get through it. Well,
it'll be good again eventually. Yeah.
If it's -20, it'll probably be hopefully 10 above next week, and that'll feel a lot better.
Yep.
And yeah, so
I'm an eternal optimist, so I believe very much in the power of positivity.
Good for you. Well, I'm glad you're staying safe, staying inside, staying warm this winter. Our listeners in the West Indies don't know what any of this is like, but it is. Yeah, it's just something that we get through here in the Midwest. So
yep, this is where the wheels fell off the wagon for our ancestors, and we, for whatever reason, didn't get far enough away from it, and we continue to deal with it. But you know what? There's some sort of pull with the Midwest that keeps us here. So
haven't fully identified it yet, but we're here for a reason. Anthony, we are about ready to start another episode. I'm curious as to what you're drinking right now.
Yeah. So I just went to the kitchen and could not find a wine glass. So I've got a Cabernet Sauvignon in a rocks glass here.
Yeah, nice.
Because I've hit my limit of scotch, I think, that I'm drinking from the previous episode.
Yeah. Did I see that it's a monogrammed?
Yes. These belong to my grandpa.
Oh yeah, those are classic.
Yeah.
I feel like every household when we were growing up, every household had a set of those glasses with the monogram with like the little wheat things on the bottom like that or whatever it is, the laurels.
There wasn't a whole lot that aside from my proud to be a Black Panther pins that I took from when my grandpa passed, but that was one thing that I wanted to keep in was the monogram glasses.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, I've got my Cheers pint glass here, and I have this new concoction that I put together this week and have had about one a night this week, which is I got Bacardi pineapple on sale for a ridiculously low price, which is the only reason I bought it. But it turns out when you mix that with some just sour mixer, holy buckets, you create some magic. So that's what I'm drinking. It is very acidic, and so after I drink like a full glass, I get a little irritated up in the upper esophagus area, but it's very nice. So that's what I will be drinking for the remainder of this episode, I would assume.
Nice.
All right. So we've made small talk about the weather.
Yeah.
We've discussed what we're drinking. So I think that means it's time to get started on episode 214 of Friday Night Lights.
Leave no one behind.
Leave no one behind. This episode aired the 1st of February, 2008, almost exactly 13 years ago. Movie Dude 1. Does he got something to say? Oh my gosh.
We do not have Movie Dude 1.
Whoa.
We've got Page 8701.
Okay.
Who says, the hardships in Saracen's life begin to get to him, and he and Riggins, who is still pining away for Lyla, commiserate. Julie feels left out when it seems like her mom is more focused on the volleyball team than her. Smash's suspension hurts the rest of the team's morale, and it has an unexpected consequence for him. Tyra becomes jealous of Landry's new girlfriend. Paige, this isn't great.
We got a one sentence synopsis here.
Yeah. A proper use ish of semicolons.
I mean, the proper use of semicolons is debatable. We've gone over it before. I can't remember if that made the episode or not. I think it did.
Yeah.
But seems a reasonable use, at least. I'll say it's a reasonable use of semicolons. Yeah. I feel like it conveys the information that we need to know in a mostly understandable way.
The first
sentence, yeah.
Well, the whole thing is one sentence, so you can't say the first sentence. The first part of it, the hardships in Saracen's life begin to get to him, and he and Riggins, who is still pining away for Lyla, commiserate.
Yeah, that is a convoluted.
What an ugly sentence.
Yep, that one's not
an
so
ugly
great.
section of a sentence.
Right. Okay, Paige. I'd go with a 6. on this one.
Like on the Movie Dude 1 scale?
Yeah, this is much better than most Movie Dude 1.
That's true. I still got to say like a 5.5.
You're not willing to go for a 6.
I mean, I'll give it up. I just want everybody to know that I'm not quite there.
Okay. All right. Okay, we'll go with a 6. Anthony reluctantly going with a 6. I'm going to real quick click on Paige's profile here, page 8701, and just see what they're all about. I want to see their top rated things. Highlander, episode of Highlander, episode of Dragon Ball Z, another episode of Highlander, and then Friday Night Lights, Leave No One Behind is their 4th top rated item, and then an episode of Angel. So that's page 8701. That's their top 5 highest rated episodes. Just wanted to know what we were working with here. All right. I hope Movie Dude 1 is back soon. I'm going to assume that he is. I'm not sure what we would talk about on the podcast if he wasn't. So
here's a question. Do you think that this was an episode that Paige just really liked, and she several years ago was like, I'm going to do the synopsis for this episode, but none other prior to it, maybe some more later? And Movie Dude 1 at one point was like, I'm going to do every synopsis for every Friday Night Lights episode that doesn't already have one.
Yeah.
And then he came and was like, oh,
Paige has got it covered.
214 already has one. I'll move on to the next one. Or do you think that he, like, for some reason missed this episode and that Paige was like, I'll step in? A chicken and the egg question.
Right. I think I lean towards the first, the former of your explanations.
Then why do you think? Why do you think? Okay, do you think he just maybe was writing synopses and he missed it, or do you think that he just maybe didn't really like this episode, or maybe he couldn't come up with a
parallels? He couldn't come up with the proper parallels to tie it all together. Well, what did I said that Paige already had written one. So I feel like maybe Movie Dude 1 at this point was feeling pretty tapped out creatively. And so when he saw that Paige already had one, he's like, oh, thank God. I'm gonna sit this one out.
I'll move on. Yeah.
I'm going to funnel what creative energy I have into episode 215 and hopefully knock it out of the park. And he is back on episode 215. So but on episode 215, there is an official NBC synopsis. So I don't know if that fits with my theory of him.
Well, and to bring that into it, we've only seen 4 tops NBC official synopses.
Yeah.
Like, why are they so lacking? Or like, where did they decide to step in?
Is this officially from NBC? Like, did they? I don't know. Must be a good episode. I'm going to assume that episode.
What's the finale?
Oh, well, there you go.
Sort of.
Right. By default, because things shut down. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Ooh, episode 15, the finale is when we have Peter Berg actually in the show.
Oh, really? He shows up that early?
Looks like it. It's called May the Best Man Win, and it looks like in the cover photo. Yep, that's him in the stands with
I thought that he showed
Mrs.
up
Taylor
much later in the series, but
nope, we're gonna see that douche right away. All right.
Ooh, oh man, I don't remember if I texted you about this, but the movie that he was in that I bought, The Great White Hype, was so good.
Really? Was it?
I really, really enjoyed it. Like, it's the kind of movie that like they just don't make anymore.
Yeah.
But it was really, really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Nice. Well, and you said he was basically playing a douche, so it worked that way.
It was a genuinely like funny movie. Like, for me to watch something from the 90s that I hadn't already seen and laughed at a bunch for my entire life.
Right.
It's hard for me to like get some chuckles out of stuff, but like Very, very solid.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't just the nostalgia factor. It was
exactly
legitimately funny. Nice. Might have to check that out. All right. So we open this episode. Matt is cooking some sausage.
Yeah, he's making breakfast for Grandma. Well, he's actually making eggs, but Grandma thinks he's making sausage.
Yeah, yeah. Don't burn the sausage, Matthew. You know I like those Jimmy Dean's tender. Quoted the episode.
I'm not making sausage, Grandma. I'm making eggs.
Matt's very frustrated by the whole situation of that. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed how I said sausage right away. For whatever reason, I got into the habit of saying it that way around the house. And so now my kids pronounce sausage as sausage.
That's a good bit.
Mom, are you making sausage? Yeah. So Grandma is confused about what he's cooking because it's French Toast Tuesdays for when Carlota was there. But Carlota is gone. Grandma's convinced that Carlota's coming back. Matt is frustrated and sad by the whole situation because he's definitely not coming back. And he misses her and he wishes that she was.
Yep. He's struggling without Carlota around, but luckily Grandma likes his cooking.
Yeah, it works. Which he just made scrambled eggs. So
hard to mess that up. But
yeah.
But yeah, he it's kind of one of those everything reminds him of her situations. He's looking around, he sees his class ring and he's like bummed about Carlota.
His championship ring.
Right. Oh, that's what it was. Sorry.
I was like, why was he sad about his class ring? But yeah, his championship ring. You said that it's hard to screw up scrambled eggs, but I got to tell you, and I don't think Lindsay listens to the podcast anymore. Maybe someday she will. But her family makes terrible scrambled eggs.
Wow.
Here's what they do. They take one of those, like griddles with the like sides on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they just, dump a bunch of stirred up eggs in there. And then they start dumping onions and peppers and all this stuff and Velveeta cheese like you wouldn't believe, like just gobs of it. And then they just start stirring it the whole time. They're just like stirring it instead of, like letting the eggs firm up, and then like gently breaking it up. So you get the like big chunks and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's just like grainy and the cheese and everything is all like messing up the consistency and the texture. I think I have convinced her that there's a better way to make scrambled eggs now.
I literally taught myself to make scrambled eggs by just Googling like scrambled egg recipe. Yeah, right. And like the best scrambled egg recipe I've found is just like, it's like 4 eggs, half a cup of milk or quarter cup of milk, some butter, and some pepper and salt, and you stir it together, and that's it. You let the eggs congeal, flip it, you throw some salsa on that.
Oh, yes.
Once it's done, that's it. You don't need peppers, you don't need cheese, you don't need onions. And don't get me wrong, I like a good omelet.
Right.
But that's an omelet. That's not scrambled eggs.
What changed the game for me with my scrambled egg game was getting that pan good and greased with a nice amount of butter beforehand, and then turning the burner down low. Like not even medium. You get it down to low, and you like cook them 3 or 4. Slow. Yep, cook them real slow. And then just slowly kind of move them around as it cooks. You try and cook scrambled eggs fast. I mean, you get rubbery. You're going to get bad consistency. Yep. So apparently Matt knows what he's doing, according to Grandma standards. But so Matt is right off the bat in this episode. Matt's not in a very good place mentally and emotionally. And it's only going to go downhill from here, folks. Meanwhile, Coach and Julie are bickering about her driving, having a little back and forth.
Yeah, Julie is about to take the driver's test, and Coach is concerned about every little thing. Kind of boils over when Coach implies that she may drive drunk, which, I mean, to be fair, it's important to teach your kids not to drive drunk, but he is like, just going over the top. And
Tammy kind of says, hey, you might want to back off her a little bit. and she offers to take Julie to her driving test instead of Coach. And Coach says, "You want to take her? Fine. I'll be in the bathroom." So Coach apparently has to take a big dump and is glad that he doesn't have to go take a driver's test.
The driver's test doesn't happen till later in the episode, like until the end of the episode, which is implied to be like several days later. So I don't know how long Coach Taylor is spending in the bathroom.
Mondo dump.
Yeah. He's going to miss some practices more than Matt Saracen is going to later this episode. But
or maybe he's just planning ahead, like he knows his bodily rhythm. He's like, yeah, that was going to be during my afternoon crap anyway. Yeah. So good, you take
dodge the bullet.
Yeah. We see Matt driving his Dodge Dart, his hunk of junk Dodge Dart.
That Lauren helped him buy.
Lauren, that was her name. I couldn't remember.
And he turns on the radio. We get a music cue. And I have to point this out only because I'm going to pull it up again while we're talking. I don't think I've ever seen one this low. So this is a song called "I Can't Hold Myself in Line" by John Doe. This has the lowest number. When you do a Shazam on a song, it tells you how many other people have done it.
Yeah.
So like, this has got to be the lowest number I've ever seen.
Yeah.
By like a wide margin. 138.
138 people have shown enough interest in this song to Shazam it. It does not catch people's attention.
By comparison, another song that I Shazammed. Do I have a date on this? I don't have the date that I Shazammed it, but I can see that I did Shazam it. It's a song that I don't recognize. I'm going to have to listen to later because I don't know what the song is. Called "This Girl" by Kungs and Cookin' on 3 Burners. Or maybe the song is called "Kungs and Cookin' on 3 Burners" by this girl. It doesn't matter.
Right.
No, Kungs is the group, and "Cookin' on 3 Burners" is who it's featuring.
Okay.
Have you've obviously also never heard of it?
No.
23 million Shazam.
What? Wow. Yeah. I didn't even notice that there was a music cue. What, like it was on the radio?
Turns on the radio and there's like a song playing and he switches it pretty early on to hear about Smash's situation.
He also was not interested in that song. The slightest.
138 that's less than the amount of people in our hometown. For there to be 7 billion people on this earth and only 138 of us have Shazammed this song it's a real testament.
You're in a pretty small elite community. You maybe should reach out to those other 138 people and ask them what possessed them. It was probably all Friday Night Lights listeners.
It had.
Or watchers.
Well, that's the thing is like for it to be featured on a nationally televised, like a relatively popular show. Here's what I'm going to do as a comparison. When we went to Stillwater this fall, there was a song that I heard in a Mexican restaurant that was in Spanish. And I remember being like, I'm digging this. Mm-hmm. That song has 45,000 Shazams. So like
138. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So usually our award at the end is notable music cues. I don't know that we can in good conscience call this a notable.
I'll tell you right now,
cue.
There's a much more notable music cue later in the episode. That is my choice. So I can already tell you, even though that I'm one of only 138 people in the world to ever Shazam that song, it still is not going to get my pick because there's a much better song that's chosen or that I'm going to choose for later on. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough. Good. Okay. Well, we've spent more time talking about this song than anyone in the history of this song ever has. Even the people who wrote it.
Even John Doe himself has not.
Right. So Matt quickly turns the station because that song sucked. and he hears on the sports radio talk show that Smash has been suspended for the rest of the season, and he starts breaking down at that point, both emotionally and mechanically.
Yeah, not only does he break down, his car breaks down.
Yeah.
So he pulls over to the side of the road and takes a little bit of frustration out on the car.
Yeah, he's hitting some unimaginable new lows. He throws a little bit of a fit there, which is understandable for what's going on in his life. Yep. So no judgment there. We see him. He makes it to the football field, to the locker room.
Yep.
Somehow. I don't know if he got the car running or if he got a ride there or what. He did have a little grease on his face, so maybe he got under the hood. Although he did chuck the keys into the ditch and looked like he started walking away. So
I just want to talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
Actions like that, and I know that real people do stuff like that, and I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you this, and maybe I'm just not an angry enough person.
Yeah.
Because, like, I feel like I get mad sometimes, but I never do anything that, like, even at my most pissed off I've ever been in my life, I've never done something with, like, earth-shattering repercussions.
Yeah.
I think I'm always thinking, like, oh, I can't do that. I know that I would love to do that maybe because I'm so pissed off.
Yes.
But I would never throw my car keys into a lake or whatever. You know, like...
Yeah. So...
It's a level of emotional intelligence that I don't think... Or unintelligence, maybe, that, like...
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, ironically, I have been not happy with how I've been dealing with anger lately. Mm-hmm. Seeing a therapist, so, we're getting it under control. But
good for you.
Not like 3 weeks ago, I had a Matt Saracen moment where I was so pissed that I had my phone, which isn't like a new phone, but it was a perfectly functioning phone. Yeah. And I just got so pissed that I chucked it without thinking. And as it left my hand, I was like, this is stupid, and hit the wall and shattered that sucker. And I've got a new phone now. Terrible idea. But that was like kind of one of the first moments where I was like, oh, this is a problem. And I have a little bit more understanding now of how people can make terrible decisions in the moment without, even knowing that it's a bad idea, but not being able to fully hold it back. So that was a little bit of a humbling moment for me. Okay. This is getting real with Josh right now.
But. Yeah, no, and that makes me both like happy and also like apologetic that I asked the question, because knowing I think that was part of why I asked it was to be like, have you ever been in a situation? Because to me, I'm always thinking of the consequences, and maybe I don't know what that's a result of. And part of me thinks like maybe I'm not emotional enough. Like I've never been emotional enough to just forget consequences, but also part of me thinks like, oh, maybe I'm, maybe I'm a psychopath, like is that's, like in terms of like emotions, like what if I'm always, like even when I'm so mad, I'm always calculating, like that's what scares me. But at the same time, like part of me also thinks like, oh, maybe also I'm just obscenely irrational. So
I don't know.
It could go either way for either of us.
I don't know, like if you experienced a lot of anger from the people around you growing up, but I know I have students who experience so much anger, like from their parents and stuff when they were younger, that they have defaulted to being like extremely rational and not willing to let their emotions like even surface whatsoever, because they don't want to, exhibit what they experienced growing up.
Sure. And that's interesting because if you want to we'll go into therapy with Anthony.
Yeah.
Because I do wonder maybe if No, because I know that I'm a super emotional person in some ways. And I think that, I mean, you've known me long enough, I think, for that to have come out to you also.
Sure.
But I also think maybe there's things that I compartmentalize that I maybe deal with just like humor and don't really think about maybe enough.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I think there's maybe a different time and a place for this conversation. But I am interested. I am
going
interested
deep
in having
here.
it. But yeah.
Yeah. No. So Matt has a highly emotional moment. Things are kind of hitting the fan for him. It doesn't seem like he throws the keys very far away. Like it looks like they land about 2 feet on the other side of the car. So
this guy's a quarterback.
Yeah. If that's the best you can throw when you're pissed, not that impressive. But he somehow gets to the locker room and he's still pretty perturbed by everyone and everything going on around him. And Coach gives an inspiring little talk here, which good for Coach. He's back. He was laying real low last week with inspirational
I didn't
moments,
do a whole lot last week.
I feel like he steps it up here a little.
Triumphant return a little bit. And yeah, in the meeting, Matt is clearly like unfocused. He's kind of unattached. He's taking things out on people. He's clearly mad at Smash. He kind of says something like, just shut up, Smash.
Yeah.
And we get cut from there to Matt's art class, which I think is really important because if there's one thing that we know about Matt Saracen, it's that he likes to draw pictures. And
I'm surprised he didn't just have his headphones on, just listening to Bob Dylan, dealing with his emotions that way. But yeah.
But the teacher asks about for a critique, and she calls on Matt, and he's like, I wish I would have written all this down because it was very like, oh, do I think I did a good job? Yeah, because I can tell that it's a vase and flowers. So yeah, I think I did a good job.
Yep.
And he's just not wanting to do all of this. And he's upset. And after he gives his answer, he says under his breath, bitch. And the teacher says, what? And another show of him basically being like, I don't really care about anything right now. He's like, I said that I thought I did a fine job because you can tell that it's a vase and some flowers in it. And then I said, bitch.
It was good, pretty good delivery for Matt, especially because we don't get to see that side of Matt very often. I could see this. I felt like I could see this playing out in my high school art class.
For sure.
Because everyone was forced to take art, at some point, Art 1.
Were they? Because I took Art 1 freshman year, and then we lost the program for the rest of my high school career.
Oh, really? Well, I took Art 1 and Art 2. And I remember I was in it with like Pat Reiser and people.
I was in my Art 1 class. It was me and Josh Sly, and I think Dan Decker, Marquise Bull, Brian Yeager for sure was in that class.
I thought I was in Art 1 with Brian Yeager, but anyway, maybe
not. Brian Yeager was 100%.
Definitely in yours.
If there's anybody that I can guarantee was in this class, it was Brian Yeager, and number 2 I can guarantee was Marquise Bull.
Why do we got to draw flowers in a vase? Jenny
Noctigal was in that class also.
My goodness, what a cast.
Yeah, it really was
That's why we lost the program. It's because you drove Mrs. Evans out of town.
It wasn't me. But yeah, it was definitely the one thing I remember a lot was that we listened to Changes by Tupac a lot in that class because we listened to music.
Yeah.
So that the Oh Brother Where Art Thou soundtrack.
Nice.
And
Indigo
there
Girls.
was like
she loved
weird. There was a weird like 2000s either like cover or remix of Sundown by Gordon Lightfoot that Brian Yeager was really into. And whenever I hear that song, I think about Brian Yeager. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I remember listening to Three Doors Down, their first album, a ton, which banger of an album for what it was back in the day. Sure. Listened to quite a bit of Catalyst. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Yeah, one of my favorite bands of all time, actually. I have an autographed copy of one of their albums, their debut album.
Yeah, that was right when their debut album came out, so that caught some spins there. Yeah. Get This Crap Out of My Head and all the hits.
All-time classic. Ace 4 Suited, forget about it, dude.
Yep. I apologize to the world for putting some of that out there, but and yeah, Indigo Girls, because Mrs. Evans loved herself some Indigo Girls, so... Anyway, why were we talking about art?
Because Matt's in art class.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I could totally see this that type of situation. Yeah. Playing out. So I don't know if there were any consequences for calling his teacher a bitch, but he just kind of walks out of school.
It didn't seem like it. Yeah, he's struggling. Yeah, he just bounces. Landry sees him leaving and kind of says, "Hey, we've got whatever class next." And Spanish. He's like, "No." Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he says we've got it in 8 minutes or whatever. 8 minutos.
Oh, Landry. Yeah, but Saracen's done. He's just done. He's heading out. Next, we see Jean confronting Tyra and being very straightforward and awkwardly direct.
Yeah. And yeah, she asks Tyra, she says, "Are you a friend or are you competition?" Which I'm going to tell you what. If I'm Jean in that situation, I don't think I've ever been Jean in that situation. Yeah. But I think if I am Jean in that situation, I do not have the balls to ask Tyra that question.
No. Jean, we understand to be a freshman. So she's an underclassman. B, Tyra's a very attractive older girl at school.
She's a smoke show.
And I think it's pretty widely known that she comes from a rough background and
isn't not only is she extremely attractive, but she could throw down if she needed to. And we've
established that she's very tall. So just physically, and Jean is very small. Yeah. So, wow. Jean's got some stones for sure, I guess. I question whether it's the right usage of said stones, but yeah. Are you a friend or are you competition? Lets her know that she likes Landry and she's after him. We're over at football practice and Saracen's missing. So, missing Saracen. Coach sends McGill to go look for him. Can't find him. Lance is injured.
Yeah, we learned that Lance is injured. He suffered a knee injury that he sustained from tripping over a curb, which Mac thinks is hilarious.
Which is kind of hilarious. And
tripped over a curb, Coach. He tripped over a curb.
Which this is another one of those things where it's like they needed Landry free for some reason. Yeah. So they gave him an injury.
The funny thing is, for a second there, Coach says Landry smashed and Saracen out. He cares that Landry is out. But he does call him Landry. But he just says,
he does there?
He does for
because he initially calls him Lance.
Yep, yeah. Initially right away he says, "What happened to Lance?" Or Lance is out with an injury or whatever. Well, Lance has hurt his knee, whatever. Yeah. How'd he get that again? Then he says, Landry, Saracen, smash.
Yeah, putting them on the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. So yeah, team is in rough shape. Smash shows up, full gear, wants to practice, but coach tells him that he needs to coach the team without him for this practice. Which I didn't know if that was, I understand. I feel like Smash could still practice, but you got to give like the reps to the backups who are actually going to be playing. Right. But Smash can be out there.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It seemed like just another way for coach to be kind of stoic and
I suppose
make the right calls, quote unquote. But
yeah,
Jean meets with Landry outside of practice after it ends, and she tells him she's found the mother lode.
Oh yeah, which I would be excited too, especially in 2007, 2008.
I have to tell you about this in 2020. Late 2020, I want to say October, November, or December. A friend of the show, Jordan Erickson, messaged me about this exact thing, which is Mystery Science Theater 3000 short films on YouTube, which
nice,
have apparently been there for 14 years now.
Yeah,
or 12 years now.
Nice. I also remember Jordan tweeting about getting a new TV, and he must have got a Roku TV because on the Roku live TV streaming channels that are like built into the TV there, and I have this too. There's a channel that is Mystery Science Theater 3000 24 hours a day.
Yeah, it must be tied into Pluto TV because I have that with my Samsung too.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, it was about this time when I feel like our friend group went through a Mystery Science Theater 3000
for sure
phase.
Monos,
Hands of Fate.
I first got Netflix like delivered in the mail in 2006. And one of the first things that I did was just ordered Mystery Science Theater 3000 DVDs and would watch them with like on the Erickson's projector.
Yep. I remember vividly Logan quoting for years afterwards, watch out for snakes.
Yes.
And
I remember
my tires are filled with water.
The first house that Logan lived in Platt over by like Travis Deschamper's parents and Aaron at the time Vanderheiden, now Meyerink's house. The first house that Logan lived in, I remember he invited, it was like me and Joel and Carter, and we watched EGOT, and I still remember like that is still one of my favorite Mystery Science Theater 3000s, and I remember just losing it at that episode. I still think about that a lot. I still think about my tires are filled with water and watch out for snakes and an oven in the living room. I still use that one a lot. All of those are so I probably think about them for sure once every 2 weeks. All of those bits.
If you're listening to this, you probably like resonate with our sense of humor, to some extent. And if that's the case and you haven't watched Mystery Science Theater 3000, maybe go check that out. That's an official Reliving the Lights recommendation. Yeah. So I mean, Gene is into metal and Mystery Science Theater 3000. And I feel like if I'm Landry, I'd be kind of excited about that too.
Landry's pumped. Hearing this news, and he's like, do we space this out or do we just attack it all at once?
This is at really the beginning of binging TV shows and media and stuff. So this is uncharted territory, I feel like, for humanity in general. Do we space this out or do we just, set aside 2 days straight of Mystery Science Theater 3000?
And Gene says we're going to attack it all at once. We're going to do an order, alphabetical order, or some kind of order.
Yep. Landry's pumped. Tyra sees all of this happening from afar. In true Julie seeing Matt making out all the time, Tyra just happens to see this going on from afar.
They kind of exchange a look.
Yeah. Oh, does she see? Do they?
Yes.
They see each other. Yeah. Oh, I missed that. And Tyra's just so sad about the whole situation.
She's bummed. Back at the Taylor household, Tyra asks Tammy, as she's over there for dinner again, she asks Tammy if she should feel jealous of Gene for hanging out with with Landry, and this I think is a pretty bold question.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that it's not public knowledge that they were together. Julie's there. I'm pretty sure Julie definitely did not know about Landry and Tyra actually happening.
Yes. Yeah. She
knew about
rumbles
Landry's
of it.
crush.
Yeah, because Landry, what I remember specifically, Landry interrupting her and Lois one time to ask Julie about how to handle the situation, but maybe it wasn't too in depth of a question.
I don't think Tammy knew for sure. So like, Tammy's like, well, do you like him? And she's like, no, we're just friends. Well, then you shouldn't be jealous of somebody dating him. She regales a story about her own friend in high school. Coach gets involved.
Yeah,
Julie hates every second of all of this.
That's the main thing. So I think I was distracted during the scene by my kids, but that was the main thing I took from all of this, is that Julie is feeling very envious and jealous of the connection that Tyra and Mrs. Coach are feeling and having. Not only do they have the connection of volleyball, but now it's like Tyra is going to Tammy with advice about boys and stuff like that. Yes. So it's turning into not just a coach-player relationship, but a real mother-daughter relationship. And not only that, but like Julie and Tyra, also like a friend relationship, that now Julie is not only missing her mom, but missing her friend as well. So
yes,
very jealous, very jealous. The next scene we get, Coach and Tammy are apparently on the way to the FBI. They are transporting an extraterrestrial specimen that they have in their backseat.
I was like, hold on. I've been watching the X-Files.
Yeah.
And I had like a moment where I was like, hold on,
what are we talking about?
Are we talking about the wrong show here? No, that was a good bit.
Gotcha, Gracie. I really looked all over online for like what the actor who played Gracie is up to now. Can't find her. Thought I had a lead, but it was a YouTuber with a very similar name.
There's nothing on her IMDb after this, I'm assuming.
Nope. So they're not actually on their way to the FBI. I don't know where they're going. I just wrote it in my notes as they're going to the FBI. But Coach tells Tammy that he thinks Julie is getting envious, and Tammy is not buying it. She seems very skeptical of Coach's insight.
He thinks that Julie is envious of Tammy's time spent with the volleyball team, and she thinks that that's replacing the time spent with Julie. Yeah. Tammy is not thinking much of this theory.
So obviously Tammy like misunderstands what Julie is upset about. Did you feel like Coach really understood that it wasn't like about volleyball specifically? Did he have a better understanding of it than Tammy?
I think they both have a misunderstanding, like equally misunderstanding.
Okay. Because I thought Coach had
Julie's,
a little bit more insight.
Honestly, I think Julie's just an angsty teenager who wants to be annoyed at everything her parents do. I don't think it's actually tied to like anything concrete.
Okay. All right.
I mean, we saw their struggles while Coach was away. And I think that especially after that point, I think she just wants to hate anything that Tammy is doing and root against it actively.
That's probably true. Yeah. Next we see Matt going through what I feel like every young man goes through at some point in their life. He's looking to buy a motorcycle.
I must have skipped that phase.
You never wanted to buy a motorcycle?
No, I don't think I ever did.
I bought a sweet motorcycle back when I lived with Menning.
Oh, really?
We had like a 1974 380 Suzuki. It was awesome. But it was kind of a beast to keep running because it was an old 2-stroke. Yeah.
If it counts, I have like considered buying a moped at a few times because of the fuel efficiency, but not because of the like 2-wheeled badassery of it or anything.
I mean, I'll accept that halfway as being related, at least tangentially related to the same urge, to a certain extent. But yeah, Matt is looking at motorcycles, and the salesman is pretty much who you'd picture a motorcycle salesman to be. Just sit on him, bro.
What is he? He does a bit where he's like, oh yeah, check this one out. And Matt's like, it's out of my price range. And the salesman says, that's the old you talking.
Yeah. It was honestly a little bit of Jason Street talking to Looky Lou Gerald.
Oh, for sure.
But Riggins happens to be driving by, and he kind of laughs at Matt.
He's definitely amused seeing it.
But he tells him,
well, he shows up, he says, Matt Saracen skipping school.
Yeah.
Because he's also skipping school. He informs Matt that he always skips school on Wednesdays.
I loved that. I always skip on Wednesdays. It's really good.
It's a nice midweek break. I understand it.
Absolutely. Matt ends up going with him. They go to get some beers
at a bar. And this is a weird interaction because Matt is like, how did you know that they wouldn't card us here? And Tim is like, oh, the owner,
Carl or something.
He would never card us. And then they like he lifts a beer to Carl, who like gives a look like, ugh, these kids. That almost suggests like he gave them non-alcoholic beer or something. Like he almost gives a look like, yeah, all right, losers.
Yeah.
And not a look of like, I gave you the hookup.
Right. Which it was definitely real beer because Matt definitely gets drunk.
Or was it?
Well, I don't know. I feel like if you act that way in practice, you got to be pretty dumb to
placebo effect is a hell of a drug.
Fair enough. But yeah, it was an odd reaction from Carl, who is supposed to be old school.
Yeah.
Also, it must be like a bar and grill because while they're there and Matt is getting drunk, then in come our Christian power couple, Lyla and youth pastor guy.
Yes. So Tim says, how sad is it? These guys show up here for lunch every single day. And Matt, who is correct, says, how sad is it that you know that?
Right, exactly.
Sounds like you're a stalker.
I kind of like not give a crap Matt. Who'll just say what's on his mind. It
has, some really solid bits for sure.
Yeah, so Lyla and whatever his name is, I'm pretty sure his last name is Christensen. So like really? That's what we're gonna call him. But the youth pastor, they're getting lunch. Tim goes over and starts to talk to them.
Gotta give props for the youth pastor for like being like, Tim Riggins, it's an honor to meet you. He does a real puts on a real show.
Yeah. And Tim kind of carries on a little bit. He's trying to make it awkward for them, but it ends up like feeling awkward himself.
Yeah.
By the end of it, and he gets kind of flustered with the whole situation and basically bails, retreats back to the table, tells Saracen that they're leaving and they're going to practice. Yeah. Which Saracen is either mentally drunk off of non-alcoholic beer or actually drunk off of real beer, but either way,
he was going for it. He was definitely going for it.
Yeah. So they're heading to practice.
And to Movie Dude won it. Speaking of practice, Tammy and Julie are practicing driving.
Yeah. Tammy asked Julie if Julie would like to join the next practice with the volleyball team. No. And I wrote in my notes, get a clue, Tammy. That's definitely not what's going on here.
No.
Way off base. Julia Scherzer. Yeah, that's not the case.
Back at football practice, Matt Saracen is struggling. He's having a good time and nobody else is out on the field. He's calling all kinds of audibles. And
he's really on like Anthony Hookman episode 208 levels here.
Yeah. I don't know how he got that drunk off of like 2 shared pictures.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's gone. He is like sticking his hands under the wrong guy's ass.
Yeah.
Not his center. It's not going well for him. I gotta say, he is over the top drunk. Like, they're maybe laying it on a little thick here.
I think they did a little bit too much.
Coach is pissed. He has a talk with Matt. McGill says something about, you smell alcohol on his breath or something like that. And Coach kind of, it's obvious that he did, but he says, no, I do not. So he's going to choose to ignore it. So later, Landry is talking to Matt about what movie to watch with Gene. Wrath of Khan or Jaws. Yep. Matt is... Okay, so I was confused on the timeline here. Is this after practice? What's going on?
I think it's the next day. I wrote down the next day.
So he's hungover?
Mm-hmm.
Is this like in the morning? Or did
Could
Matt
be.
keep
It looked to me
practice?
like it was lunch.
Yeah, I just don't know how Matt was so hungover yet at this point. But,
never had an all-day hangover?
I mean, not like that. And like we just said, it's not like he drank that much.
But I think the thing, okay, here's what I'll say. As somebody who is now 33, I didn't have hangovers like this when I was a junior in high school. I didn't even drink as a junior in high school. I didn't have hangovers like this as a 19-year-old. But I do now. Like, I've definitely been, well, especially like if you have to wake up early the next day, like that's a nightmare.
Yeah, but my thing is he was drinking at like 3 p.m. presumably.
That's true.
It's middle of the afternoon. It's not like he was drinking until 3 a.m. You know, like a lot of times when you're super hungover.
That's a difference maker. Yeah, that's a difference maker.
So I was just confused when this scene took
I
place.
didn't think about that.
But yeah, Matt is hungover and Smash is there, and Matt is getting kind of pissy with Smash. And
he's being a real dick to Smash. Landry is worried about Matt becoming an at-risk youth, as he says.
Yeah. So yeah, Matt is still, I feel like, hitting bottom here.
We get a volleyball game, which means we've had more volleyball than football in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, no doubt. We've had some practice, but that's about it for football. No games, no nothing. So yeah, volleyball game. Basically, Tyra wins the game for them. Again, 1-woman wrecking crew, as said before. And in the post-game huddle, Tammy is so excited by the victory that she invites the whole volleyball team over to her house. And so we see the team back at the Taylor household, and they're dancing and eating ice cream and carrying on and so on and so forth. And Julie comes home and she's pissed.
She's hurt.
She goes straight to her room. Tammy goes in there and she's like, basically telling Julie she needs to get over it and buck up and not be so jealous. But it turns out Julie has a pretty legitimate gripe here.
Yeah, as it turns out, Julie says, well, pardon me, but when you say you're going to meet me at the DMV at whatever time, I expect you to be there. And I waited an hour. I called your cell phone. I called the home phone.
Yeah. So Julie got stood up by her mom to get her license. So she's pretty upset. And so we see Tammy and Julie pulling up to the DMV. There's some dumpy DMV worker closing up shop. Oh, damn.
Before that, well, we get... Oh, no, you're right. Sorry. Continue.
So we see Tammy and Julie pulling up to the DMV. There's some dumpy DMV worker closing up. They really worked hard at getting your stereotypical DMV worker here. He's closing up for the day. Tammy begs him to stay open just 10 more minutes. They're supposed to be open for 10 more minutes anyway.
Yep. She came at 4:50.
Yep. So he goes ahead and Tammy gets her way.
Reluctantly, she says, "Do you have kids?" He says, "I do." "Listen, you need to understand that my kid is never going to trust me again if you don't do this."
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, are you a Panther football fan?
Yeah. No, I hate football.
Okay.
Never mind.
Yeah. So back at the Collette household, we see Ma Collette. We haven't heard from her for a while. And Tyra's trying to get some motherly advice from old Angie there.
Yeah, asking Ma Collette the same question she asked Tammy Taylor about competing for affection.
So Ma Collette says that she has always competed for a guy. Like basically never had a situation where she wasn't competing for a guy, that she likes the chase in the competition.
That seems to be her bread and butter, was that it wasn't even for love or whatever.
Yes.
It was just that she liked the chase. She liked the competition.
Yeah. So she says that Tyra has it in her blood, that's just the way that she's wired. We see, so speaking of the Collettes, we see Tim and Matt at the strip club.
As it turns out, the other bar is not the only bar that does not card Tim.
Which we know for a fact that strip club, it does card occasionally because Matt and Julie and Tyra and Landry all got sent to jail.
And not only do we know that, but we know that these strippers like outright say that Matt Saracen is a high schooler and they don't care.
Some sketchy stuff going on here. But man, Matt's having a good time.
He's living life and loving it.
This would not usually be a situation where Matt would be enjoying himself. He would usually be in Goofus
mode for sure. But he is in a new Matt Saracen mode and he is loving it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we talked about it, but I think when they were at that bar, Carl's bar, he told Tim that he wanted to be more like Tim and just be in the moment and be what was his word? Like steady, something like that. Like just nothing really phases him, you know? So yeah, Matt's having a great time. Tim gets Matt a lap dance and Matt is awkwardly just chit-chatting it up, having a good time with the stripper while she's giving it a dance, but he gets a call in the middle of it all, and so he leaves to go take that.
Meanwhile, Smash shows up at Coach's office and reveals that his scholarship to TMU has been revoked due to his assault charges. They find him like an objectionable person, or he has objectionable values or
questionable character.
Questionable character, that's what it is.
Yeah. Which is kiss of death.
Oh, for sure.
Says.
Yeah. So he's very worried about his future and what he's going to do now.
Yep. We cut to Matt getting a ride from the stripper that was giving him a dance.
He's back in Goofus Maloofus mode at this point.
Yeah. They're on their way to the hospital. Turns out Grandma fell and hit her head. Grandma Saracen. Freaking Lorraine. Can't just go drink some beers and have a good time at the strip club.
Yeah. She always knows when to harsh a mellow. That's for sure.
No doubt. Matt is still very drunk on the way there, which I assume is why he's not driving himself.
Yeah. Back at the movies, Landry and Jean are coming out of a showing that they just did. Did you happen to catch the two movies that were playing?
Well, it was between Wrath of Khan and Jaws, right?
So Jaws was one of the movies playing.
Okay, I just screening. Assumed. Okay.
The other movie playing was Peter Berg's The Kingdom.
Oh, come on. No, really?
Yep.
Well, they definitely made the right. I what I remember of The Kingdom, I enjoyed
liked
watching
it. From what I remember
at the
too,
time.
the last time that I saw it was in the theater 13 years ago.
Okay. Was Jaws showing at the same time?
No, not in my theater. But
yeah.
At this theater, it was said now showing The Kingdom, and then it said special screening Jaws. So
okay, interesting. Good catch.
Speaking of, a side note, the State Theater reopened here in Sioux Falls, which I'm very excited about, and they're doing a showing of the Thing tomorrow at 10 p.m. And I think I'm gonna go.
Good call.
I think I'm gonna go.
Yeah, that movie is sweet. What's his name? Kurt Russell? No, who's the Kurt Russell's the main guy in that? It's been a couple years since I've seen it. Yeah, good times. So Landry and Jean are leaving the movie theater, and Tyra basically comes out of nowhere and ambushes them.
Yeah, they, for the record, went and saw Jaws. Landry is talking about his fear of sharks and fear of water, and they're interrupted by Tyra.
Yeah. She needs to talk to Landry. She pulls him aside, tells him that she likes him. She wants to give the relationship a shot. And Landry's pretty pissed off by this.
Yeah, Landry says, I'm literally in the middle of a date right now.
Yeah.
Frankly, how dare you?
Yeah. Kind of with Landry here. I mean,
not wrong.
Tyra, go ahead and shoot your shot. Do what you got to do. But timing. It's not advantageous for you to interrupt the date. And
wait like 12 hours.
It's going to be fine if you wait 12 hours. So Landry says, I'm literally on a date with a girl who isn't embarrassed of me. And Tyra kind of pleads her case, saying that, we got together under unique circumstances. Murder. And
killed somebody.
She was scared and confused. But now she's had some time to think about it and knows what she really wants. And Landry just basically shuts her down. Listen, I'm on a date. No. And so Tyra leaves dejectedly, and Jean just walks right up and plants a juicy one on Landry.
Power move.
Power move, no doubt. Jean's kind of full of power moves. That's kind of Jean's MO.
Yeah, for sure.
She doesn't look like a power move person, but it's becoming kind of her calling card.
Yeah. Yeah. Smash is tearing down back at home. He's tearing down all of his TMU memorabilia, his posters, his etc. And Mama Smash walks in. He must have been very loud. Taking it down. She comes in and she tells him that she loves him. She believes in him. And they embrace kind of a special little moment.
Mm-hmm.
Coach shows up at the hospital.
Okay.
We don't know that he's been called, but they said, we're really sorry. We didn't know what else to do. And it turns out Matt is passed out in the waiting room. Grandma Saracen appears to be fine.
Oh, yeah. She's happy as a clam.
She is hype to see Coach Eric Taylor.
As always.
In the flesh.
Literally her favorite person in the world. Like, not her son, Henry. Not her grandson, even Matt. Although she's very fond of Matt, no one can hold a candle to Coach Eric Taylor in Grandma Saracen's book.
She asks about little baby Gracie, about everything.
Yep.
Coach is pissed at Matt.
Yeah. Tells him he smells like a damn drunk. He's doing it all through like his whisper yell through his teeth thing that Coach does. Kind of coaches. That's his. Coach is mad when he's not actually opening his mouth when he talks. He brings the Saracens home, and of course, as Coach is kind of getting Grandma settled, she offers him a sandwich because that's Grandma Saracen's move.
Yep.
Offer the man a sandwich or maybe some cake. And so he gets Grandma settled, and then he and Matt kind of get into it a little bit here. Coach is very upset with Matt.
Drags Matt into the bathroom.
Yeah. Throws him in the shower.
I think got to be one of the most iconic moments of Friday Night Lights history.
Yeah.
I think for sure the highlight of this season. Yeah. I think it's this moment.
Powerful scene.
He throws Matt into the shower, turns the shower on. Matt says, "You left me for TMU. Julie left me for the Swede. Carlota left me for Guatemala. My dad left me for a damn war. Yeah. Everybody leaves me." And Coach, he says, see him turn around real quick.
Yeah. Because Matt ends that with, "What's wrong with me?"
Yeah.
And yeah, that I have in my notes that you can see the weight of that hit Coach. Like it lands and he's just like, ugh. And he tells Matt, "There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you at all," which is a really powerful moment. I would agree. Probably the moment of the most significant moment of season 2 for sure.
Yeah.
Pretty big. Landry is sitting in his car looking forlorn. He's outside of the diner or a restaurant. I don't know, one of the eating establishments in Dillon. Calls up Jean. Jean's sitting inside the restaurant. He, creepily tells her that she's wearing a nice sweater. Come on out, basically. So she comes out to talk to Landry. And he dumps her without even getting out of the car. Like dumps her through the car window, which is pretty cold. And Jean is sad. And
very upset.
Pissed. And tells him he's making a mistake. So I guess the Jean thing's over now. Was that 2 episodes or 1 episode? 2 episodes. Yep. So yeah, looks like Landry's going back to Tyra. He tells her it's not fair to her, not fair to Jean. He's got all these lingering feelings, so it's better if he just cuts it off. So
in the very next scene, Landry shows up at the Collette house.
Oh yes, he does.
Tyra conveniently answers the door and they kiss as we get another musical cue and my choice.
Yes.
For musical cue of the week, which is If It's the Beaches by the Ava Brothers.
Mm-hmm. Probably
a top 10 Ava Brothers song, if not higher for me.
Yeah. When I heard it, I was watching with Lindsay and I was like, we need to be listening to more Ava Brothers. I kind of forget about the Ava Brothers sometimes. And
their output over the last 5 or 6 years hasn't been great, but like I saw them in 2013. It was at that time probably the best show that I'd ever seen. I saw them again summer 2019 and it wasn't as good, but it was also like it was an outdoor venue, so it was much bigger and it's a different experience, but
great musical cue as they're kissing and whatnot. But Landry's got to go immediately to the football game. But they basically make plans to hook up after the game.
And it is game time. Outside of the game, Julie practices parking backwards. She does a pretty good job for a first timer.
She doesn't say anything.
The couple summers that I worked maintenance at Snake Creek, I got real good at backing up. Because we had to every day either raise or lower the docks, and that's in like literally just back up to the dock and either push it in or pull it out.
Okay, yeah.
After you chain it, so I've gotten. I will say, as far as my driving skills go, backing up, I am for sure as I'm in the 94th percentile, I'll say.
Nice.
Of drivers.
Yeah. So I grew up on a farm and then I worked for highway maintenance and then I worked construction. So I have a lot of experience backing up trailers. I wish I could say I was better. I'm probably still better. I'm probably still in the 85th percentile, but I feel like I should be in the 95th percentile. I should be better than what I am for how much I've done it.
Yeah.
But
But
still not bad at backing up trailers.
I will say, as far as backing up trailers, I'm not very high, but as far as backing up,
straight backing up, yeah,
just straight up vehicles, I'm for sure in the 94th. I'll say percentile.
Nice.
But trailers, I'm not as good at trailers, but
it's tough. But word of wisdom from Kenny Kuipers about backing up on the farm. He'd always tell me, when you're backing up in a vehicle, when you're backing up in life, only back up only as far as you have to, never anymore. I'll always remember that. Which is good advice. That's good advice.
It's very solid.
Yeah, don't back up further than you have to.
Yep.
So, football game. Yep, Julie's backing in. We see the locker room. They're going through their pregame routine or whatever, but Smash shows up. And at first I felt like, what is the reception that Smash is getting here? Is it like people are pissed at him because...
Yeah, I had kind of forgotten. It's been so long since I've watched this episode. And he kind of gives like a good luck speech. And Saracen is like, Coach, let him play. It. Like, we're not going to make it the playoffs anyway. Put him in. What's the worst that could happen? And I was like, do they do this? I forgot. I was like, oh, shit. They're going to throw him in.
Stupid idea, Saracen.
I mean,
come on.
Is it though? Like,
I don't remember for sure, and maybe we don't know because the season got cut off.
But yeah,
we don't know if they make the playoffs. I don't know.
I think it would have been dope if they would have just thrown him in, and then the writer's strike happened, and then you can draw your own conclusions.
Yeah, they do not play him. Smash basically says that's ridiculous. He gives an inspiring pep talk, and I feel like Coach is really losing his like linchpin inspirational leader of the show role here these last few weeks.
Yeah, he has been dipping for sure.
But I think that's the sign of a good leader. You know, a good leader works himself out of a job, creates the culture, and raises other people up. So
true.
Maybe, you know, it's not an indictment on Coach's leadership. It's actually to his credit that everyone else around him is becoming inspirational. But
true. Yeah, Smash says, no, you know what? Make the playoffs and I'll play again.
Yeah.
So go out and win it for me.
That's right. Yep. So they're all pumped up now. Team goes out. Smash hangs back in the locker room and just starts sobbing.
Yeah. Last shot we get, the team goes out. They all tap the P on their way out. And as they're out the door, we close in on Smash and he's sobbing.
Yep. Which I felt for him there. Little heartbreaking moment there a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's the end of the episode. Roll credits. We'll be back in just a moment to talk about some of our characters. All right, we are back. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth on some of our characters. So the episode ended with Smash. Why don't we start this segment with Smash? I'm feeling for him. It's a bummer.
For sure. Yeah. He's an obvious victim of racial injustice.
Yeah.
So
he's trying
what
to
he's done with over the last 3 episodes. Yeah. I mean, doing what anybody would do.
Right. So he's a victim of racial injustice. He's trying to stand up for his family. He's trying to take care of his baby sister. And then when the nasty jerk white dude tries to screw him over more and drag him through the mud, he tries to stand up for himself, and it only worsens things.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, he said some stupid stuff, but bummer. But I guess we're hoping Smash is gonna learn and grow through the experience. You can learn to be a leader off the field as well as on the field in these situations. So hopefully Smash just views this as an opportunity for growth, and it'll make him better in the long run.
Yes.
Let's see who else we got. Matt Matt is, probably, I would say, our main character of the episode. He's having a heck of a time.
He is dealing, for sure, coping with, as he says late in the episode, just the losses of pretty much everybody in his life. He lost Coach, even though Coach came back. He lost Julie, even though he sort of had the opportunity to have Julie back.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's his biggest problem emotionally, is he's not willing to forgive.
Yeah, right.
But but in his defense, if these people wouldn't have made stupid decisions, he wouldn't have to forgive them. So you kind of have to give him credit for that.
I thought when he was talking about how Coach left him for a better job, that was the one where I was like, okay, yeah, but it's not like Coach owes you to drastically change the rest of his life to not take an opportunity just because you're on his team, his high school football team. That was the one where I was like, maybe leave that one off, Matt. But the Julie thing, she freaking left him for the Swede, and we can all agree that was a terrible decision. We can all agree that Henry Saracen is an absolute a-hole jerk.
Yeah.
We're not interested in
scumbag extraordinaire.
Yeah. I feel for Matt, for sure, for the most part, but not handling things the best, but you can't really blame him for, hitting a real low here.
No, I think we all would.
Yep. Anthony would not throw his keys into the grass, but I might.
I think, listen, if I'm Matt Saracen in this situation, I'm not throwing the keys into the grass when my car breaks down, but I probably am ending up in the shower with
right
with the Coach Taylor situation.
That sounds weird out of context.
Yeah, I realized once I used the word with, I wasn't gonna guide myself out of that, but
no, that's fine.
My car, I'm probably not calling my teacher a bitch, at least for sure not outside of my brain.
Right. Yeah, it's not a great move ever.
I'm probably not crapping on Smash, but yeah, I'm probably ended up at the strip club with Tim Riggins when my grandmother gets injured and showing up drunk at the hospital. Yeah, I can see.
You can see that happening.
Probably getting thrown into the shower by Coach Taylor and probably justifying my situation.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that honest analysis. I appreciate that.
85% of
yeah. Yeah. How about the Julie and Tammy situation we got going on? Where do you land with this?
It's difficult because I think there's so many misreadings by everybody.
Yeah.
That I have a hard time being upset with anybody. I think Tammy just found a new thing that she's loved and she's just trying to appreciate that. Julie is mad about, I don't really know for sure.
She's mad about getting left at the DMV, bro.
Yeah, she's got teenage angst and the DMV thing, but she was already mad before the DMV thing even happened. So.
Yeah. When I was watching this, I actually found myself quite a bit more on Julie's side. Not that Tammy was necessarily doing anything wrong, but she was very oblivious to what Julie was feeling. And I feel like almost trying to justify herself more than trying to understand her daughter. Which, hey, not even Tammy Taylor is perfect, believe it or not. So I'm definitely not a perfect parent and not even close to Tammy Taylor levels. So who am I to judge her parenting? But I kind of found myself feeling more sympathy for Julie than for Tammy. But I don't think we have to pick sides in this, except if we're forced to pick sides between Tammy and Julie, we're always going to pick against Julie. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's just goes without saying. Landry is having to choose, maybe for the first time in his life,
100%.
Maybe the last time in his life, he's got options.
He's got like women. A semi-manic pixie dream girl,
right,
and a 100% dream girl that he's trying to choose between.
Now, I got a little bit confused because later on in the series, I feel like he has a legitimate manic pixie dream girl. The girl that's in Crucifixtorious with him after they change from a speed metal Christian speed metal band to like an indie triangle dingin' hipster band.
I just have to say, your dedication to always bring in the triangle when talking about a certain type of band that you don't like. Yeah.
It was a line from Joel Dykstra that I'll just never forget, and I incorporated it into my lexicon when talking
Shout
about
out to Joel Dykstra, friend of the show.
Triangle ding and hipster is, I believe, what he called it. So, so Landry actually later on in the series, spoiler alert, goes full manic pixie dream girl.
Yes,
but yeah, he's got choices here. I feel like he does a pretty non-sleazy job of navigating the situation, which is saying quite a bit for Landry.
I was going to say, do you think he made the right choice, or do you think that he did not make the right choice?
I feel like we often have to differentiate between like 2007 Josh and Anthony and 2021 Josh.
Do you want my answer before you answer?
Yeah, definitely.
Do I think he made the right choice? No. Do I think he made the choice that I would have made?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I think Tyra's a once in a lifetime opportunity for Landry. So, yeah, don't blame him. So that's Landry. Interesting situation that we find Landry in. Who else? Is there anybody else that comes to mind? We don't get a lot of Tim, except kind of being Matt's drunken guide.
Yeah, his kind of Sherpa through the
yes, it's perfect. Yeah.
The Everest of his immorality, as it were.
Yeah, his DGAF phase.
Yeah.
So not much on Tim there. Anybody else that you can think of?
I'm not coming up with anybody else.
Yeah.
No Jason in this episode. Nobody. Not a
zero buddy. Yep.
Yeah. It was
Lyla?
all the Taylors. Lyla showed up only at the bar for lunch with the pastor.
Oh, right.
She doesn't really do much of anything. So
yeah.
It was all Matt, almost all Matt, and the Taylor family, a touch of Tim.
Yeah.
And a touch of Lyla.
Interesting.
And Tyra and Landry, obviously.
Right. But. Yeah. No product placement from Applebee's. No product placement from Chevy. So, yeah. All right. Well, I guess
they thought the show was getting canceled at this point. And they were like,
forget it.
We're pulling the funding.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll take one more little break here and we'll come back and give out our awards for the week. Okay, we are back. We're gonna wrap things up by doing our awards for the week, as we always do. We're gonna start with the Coach Taylor inspo rating. I can't remember. Did Coach do anything?
Yeah, well, so he.
Oh, yeah, the most poignant, significant scene of, the second season.
Yeah, so on top of that, he really. I mean, he got in Matt Saracen's face basically the entire episode, but especially his closing scene or closing moment at the end where he threw Matt in the shower and, turned the shower on. And
which I don't know how inspiring that was because it was kind of...
It backfired.
Yeah, it was kind of misled, but it led to some probably good breakthrough of Matt, like being open and honest about what's going on.
Also like a hard 5.
Yeah. Yeah, he gets things going. And again, I'm not sure this counts as inspiring, but even like, I feel like, he knew something was going on with Matt. Matt shows up to practice drunk. He knows that he's drunk. It's self-serving to not like get Matt in trouble, but on the other hand, like I also think he knows it's in Matt's best interest to kind of, something's going on. I'm not going to throw this kid under the bus. It's probably not what's best for him. Which, yeah, if Matt would have gotten in trouble and kicked off the team or disqualified from playing or whatever, like that would have only probably sunk him down deeper into the drunken strip club phase of life that he was in. So coach probably made a good call there. So yeah, 5. I'm good with a 5. It was almost sometimes inspiring on accident, but it worked. Julie Taylor hate-o-meter.
This is a tough one because
I feel like I'm more sympathetic to Julie here than you.
No, I think she's definitely a victim of this episode, but I think her first half sleaze, and just being so dismissive of everything, doesn't quite counteract that. I will say like a -2 or 3.
Oh, you're on the likable side.
Yeah. Who is more sympathetic now, Josh?
Yeah, no,
try again.
That's better than the number I had in my head. I had like a -1, so just barely. So, yeah, I feel bad for her. I do agree that she could be more supportive of her mother, who seems to have found something that she enjoys doing. So, let's settle on a -2 for Julie. Yeah, nice. The rare negative hate-o-meter rating for season 2 for Julie. So
yeah, I think that's maybe a first for season 2. So you gotta hand it to her on that.
Yeah, good for you, Julie. Big Rig beer tally. We didn't talk about it.
I had 2.
Okay. At the bar with the pitcher.
Yep, that was the second one.
Were they drinking in the strip club?
Or maybe that was the second one.
So Carl's beers in the strip club.
Yeah, Carl's beer in the bar and the strip club. That might have been it. And it was hard to determine too because they had a pitcher, but also Matt was definitely drinking more.
Yeah.
So first one I had was Matt shows up to Michael. Oh yeah, so they had drinks at the bar, and the second one was at the strip club. So I had 2, one at the bar, one at the strip club. Implied more beers, of course.
Yeah,
as almost usual. But Matt Saracen kind of stole the show on drinking in this episode. So.
Yes. Yep. So we'll make it an official 2. The Alamo Freeze presents the Matt Saracen Aw Shucks Goofus Maloofus moment of the week. Car ride with the stripper?
Yeah, that's got to be it. That's the only time he goes into Goofus Maloofus mode for sure.
Yep. We had 0 buddy moments, and so it was impossible to have a Buddy Garrity Sleaze
Not
moment.
A single appearance.
Yep. Notable music cues goes to the Avett Brothers. What song was it?
If It's the Beaches.
If It's the Beaches. Yep, that was really no contest compared with John Doe.
153 Shazams or whatever it was.
Should have Shazammed that. Did you Shazam the Avett Brothers song?
No, I didn't.
You just knew what it was. Yeah. Be curious to what that song had on Shazam.
22,365 Shazams.
Okay. Yeah, I in Love and You by the Avett Brothers has 297,419 Shazams. So that's their top one, which is not surprising that that's their top one. But
no, that totally makes sense.
All right, so that was an easy call for notable music cues. Outdated pop culture reference of the week. I think
maybe The Kingdom playing at the theater.
That's what I had. Peter Berg's The Kingdom. Who are the main guys in that? It was Jamie Foxx.
I want to say maybe Jennifer Garner.
I'm getting the Kingdom and Three Kings mixed up in my mind.
I know I'm forgetting somebody that's on. There's 3 people on the posters. Yep. Jamie Foxx,
Jennifer Garner, Jason Bateman, Chris Cooper.
Bateman was in that
Piven. Jeremy Piven.
Of course, Piven was in that.
Oh my gosh. Tim McGraw.
Peter of course. Berg, I know Lyla Garrity was in the movie.
Kyle Chandler. Yep, Minka Kelly. Peter Berg's got his people.
Oh, yeah.
And it came out in 2007. Huh.
I've got Battleship on my HBO Max watch list. I think I might pass out watching that tonight.
Nice. Good call.
Get a little Peter Berg in me.
I like that. Quote of the episode. I've got 2 nominations. I think one is the winner, the clear winner, but I have Coach at the beginning of the episode where Tammy says that she's going to take Julie to her driver's test, and Coach says, "You want to take her? Fine, I'll be in the bathroom." Referring to his Mondo Day dump that he's got to take. And then the other one is Matt in the shower. You don't care about me. You left me for a better job. Your daughter left me for a better guy. Carlota left me for Guatemala. My dad left me for a damn war. Everybody leaves me. What's wrong with me?
I personally would vote for the second one. The only other one, and I do like this one, was on the IMDb pages. Is the lone quote on the IMDb page from Matt Saracen. My critique is that there were drawing of a bunch of sad and stupid pictures of a bunch of sad and stupid flowers. Oh, and I said, bitch.
That is good.
But I think the monologue in the bathtub for sure.
Yep. All right. Our MVP of the episode. I don't feel like anybody has real like hero vibes in this episode.
If I'm going to nominate somebody, it's going to be Saracen, I think, because not only do we see the lowest of lows, but I think we see pretty high highs.
High highs being like living it up in the strip club, or what are you defining as?
Well, I think maybe not high highs, but I think the iconic moment of him in the shower, of him breaking down. So maybe not necessarily a high, but
significant. Like weighty, significant. Yeah. Sure. I really have I mean, I don't know in your average episode that I would give it to Matt Saracen with this situation, but I don't really have any other suggestions.
Yeah.
Nobody's really shining.
It's a very Matt centric episode. So I think it's his episode to lose.
All right. So Matt Saracen is our MVP. That leaves us with our episode rating. This was definitely a step up from the previous episode of episode 13. How much better? So we gave it a 5. We gave last episode a 5.
I think this is a strong 7, if only because the last 10 minutes bring it up.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say a 7 as well. Just the weight of significance that we experience towards the end there, I feel like make it a powerful episode. So I like that. We'll go with a 7. That wraps it up for the week. I'm going to assume, since we didn't have anybody this week, that we're going to get a good amount in the finale. I'm hoping next week. Next week is the finale, right?
Next week's the finale, yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. So hopefully we'll have a guest for you all.
Yeah. We've got some things in mind. I know for sure. I mean, I think we've got, in the very least, we can find a shoe in, but I think we'll brainstorm on some ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. Regardless, it's going to be a good time. I think that's safe to say. So make sure you tune in next week for our finale of season 2 of Friday Night Lights.
It's a finale, but it's not really a finale.
No,
it's the last episode of the season, but it's not really that special. So
yeah, it's the last episode before
we'll try to make it special.
The writer's strike shut it down. Yep. Thanks so much for listening. Shout out to our listeners in the West Indies. Anthony, it's a pleasure talking Friday Night Lights with you.
Always a good time.
As always. Yeah, we're almost done with season 2. And as we've discussed, we're almost to an odd numbered season, which in your theory are the best seasons.
The best ones, yeah.
So thanks
but also, we are to beyond this season. Everything now is 13 seasons long. So we are past the 2 longest seasons of the of the entire show.
Yeah, that's true. Right on. So we're nearing halfway of our journey.
The season 3 premiere is the halfway point, which is crazy.
Wow.
That we'll be reaching that. That's absolutely insane to me to think that technically that's the halfway point of the series.
Yeah. So thank you for sticking with us almost halfway now. We appreciate you. Thanks for reaching out to all those of you who have on social media. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know. Yeah. What you're thinking about with Friday Night Lights. Let us know where we get it wrong. I feel like we were very unsure of our MVP of the week. So if you have any other suggestions, go ahead and hit us up with that. But I think that'll wrap it up for tonight. So to all of you, thank you. Anthony, thank you. That's it. We're done.
Peace.
Let's touch God this time, boys. Let's touch God.